What is he?
Oh no, it's Ragiroth Enterprises!
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the springer. I love to sing about a sky of blue or a keyboard cue, anything with the...
How's it going, everybody? It's Ragiroth Enterprises here with another video, another Dead or Alive related video. Now, last video I talked about the top 10 characters I would like to return from Dead or Alive that I'd like to see in Dead or Alive 6. Now, I want to talk about guest characters. Guest characters have been kind of a thing since Dead or Alive 4. Dead or Alive 4, we had that female Spartan from ALO. Dead or Alive Dimensions, we didn't really have a guest playable character, but I guess we had a guest cameo appearance from Samus and actually Ridley himself. I actually totally forgot about that. And then Dead or Alive 5, we actually had a lot of guest characters. The vanilla version had Akira, Pi, and Sarah from Virtua Fighter. Then I think the Ultimate Edition added Jackie. And then I think there were some, then for last round there were some additional DLC characters. One was Mai from King of Fighters. And then there was some other, she might not have been a guest character. I don't know what she was. I thought she was from like a Samurai Warrior game or something. I forget her name, sorry. But so I think it's probably safe to say there's probably going to be at least one guest character this time. Again, it's less of a thing, you know, it's less of a want and more of a just expect, and if we gotta have them, it's what I'd like to see. So I'm not saying, like the game needs guest characters or anything like that. No, don't think that. I'm just saying, if we gotta have at least one, these are the ones I'd like them to be. And I don't know, there might not even be one. I don't think they quite have as much of a reputation as, like, say, NetherRealm Studios does, or like Soul Calibur, but even still, it's not out of the realm of impossibility. So I picked 5 with 2 honorable mentions. So of course I'm going to start at number 5. So number 5 is Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil. Now I know this is a little bit of a weird one. Honestly, one of the reasons is just because I would really like to see Leon in a fighting game. I'm so tired of him constantly getting a shaft. I'm so tired of him getting the shaft when it comes to fighting games. Even Capcom's own fighting games, he just seems to have a rough time getting in. And next to Wesker, he probably has some of the, and maybe like Krauser, he is probably the most advanced, and Jake Mueller, the most probably stylish hand-to-hand combat in the series. And I guess, obviously, like, yeah, he probably can't just use his guns and stuff willy-nilly. He could maybe save them for, like, throws. Because I remember the Spartan, she did have a couple throws where she would stick the character with a plasma grenade. Or maybe his super moves, I would say. Because he can't do, like, magic or anything like the ninja characters or anything like that can. Or maybe, like, a special move or two. I mean, because there are some projectiles in Dead or Alive. I also figured this could be some cross-promotion for Resident Evil 2 Remake. That's about it for this. I really don't think he's likely at all to be the guest character, but I would definitely be thrilled if he was. And it probably also doesn't help that, in Resident Evil 2, Leon's not quite as, I guess, the combat ass-kicking John Wick-style badass he is, that in Resident Evil 2 he's much more rookie, but even still they could probably maybe take some liberties with that. But yeah, I don't think he has much of a shot, but this is more of a pipe dream. So now moving on to number 4. For number 4, I mean, if they're going to go down the Virtua Fighter route again, but give us different characters, well, I think the most deserving character that I would be happy with would probably be Kage. Kage is awesome. He's probably one of my favorite Virtua Fighter characters. Here's the issue with him, though. We have a lot of ninjas in Dead or Alive. And no offense to Kage, as much as I love him, he is super plain compared to them. So, like, I don't think he would really stand out that much. I think he would just kind of blend in, and not really in a good way. He definitely deserves it, and I think it would be neat seeing him interact with the other ninjas, but it's like, I don't know. He's very plain compared to them, in my opinion at least. So I don't know if he'd be the best choice. I think a couple other alternatives for Virtua Fighter I think would be, well, one of my personal favorite characters is Go. I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, like the assassin guy. He'd be really cool. He'd definitely stand out. It'd be interesting to see another male assassin in the game, and like even if someone shares his fighting style, because I know like Jackie shares the same fighting style as Jan Lee, but they fight so much differently just because Virtua Fighter executed the style so much differently. But he would be really sick, and it would be nice to see a more villainous guest character. And on the subject of other villainous guest characters from Virtua Fighter, they could also go with Jean. He was basically, I think, the last character ever added to Virtua Fighter. He's another one of my favorites. I don't see him being as likely as Gaul just because he was such a late addition. I don't know how popular he is. Plus, not only that, I think he just uses karate, and I know we have a couple of karate users in the game. But again, he would probably fight a lot differently just because of how it's executed in Virtua Fighter. But yeah, I know they're not quite as deserving as Kage, but I think they would definitely stand out more and kind of offer a different kind of side of Virtua Fighter, showing more villainous, dark characters as opposed to the more typical, lighthearted martial artist characters. So yeah, I think that's about all for this one. I don't know if they would do Virtua Fighter again. I think it would be kind of cool because I don't know if there's ever going to be another Virtua Fighter game. It would be kind of neat to see them kind of live on in the Dead or Alive. So moving on to number 3. Number 3 is 2B. I know she's been kind of making a lot of guest lists lately. This is more of like a if she does not make it in the Soul Calibur 6 scenario. Oh, and obviously I know, there's not going to be guest characters in the base roster for Soul Calibur 6. I'm talking more so DLC because they said Geralt is the only guest character in the base roster. Hint, hint. So I think if she doesn't make it into Soul Calibur, it would be kind of cool to see her in Dead or Alive. And I know, I feel like in Dead or Alive she'd be way more limited, but I think she does still have hand-to-hand moves, and she could always maybe use the impact bracers. I know that might be a bit much, even if it is kind of more punching and kicking moves. It's still an option. She'd probably have to have some special moves relegated to supers or throws as well. However, the whole teleporting thing, I think she could definitely get away with, as Kasumi and some other characters do that as well. Now, as for her chances, I think if she doesn't make it to Soul Calibur, I think she has a bit of a shot. Especially because she has kind of that whole, she's one of those characters that get kind of, unfortunately associated with, just being known for having fan service, and I guess that could work in Dead or Alive's favor, especially because there's a lot of backlash of them supposedly toning down the fan service. So maybe 2B would kind of help boost that up a bit. But again, this is more so if she doesn't make it to Soul Calibur 6 or even BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. Alright, for the number 2 spot, we got Ryo from Shenmue. Now, admittedly, I don't really know much about Ryo or Shenmue. I'm sorry. I'm definitely going to play the games when they come out on August 21st, the HD versions. But I do remember, I think, I could be wrong, but I think he might have been a guest character considered for Dead or Alive 5. And he would be another Sega character too, if they didn't want to get another Virtua Fighter character. I don't really have much else to say here. I know he's a martial artist. He could probably, so he obviously has the fighting skills, and he's not someone that needs to use a weapon or anything like that. I think he maybe could have a kind of a goofy or wacky super, especially with like the forklift or something like that. But and I guess, hey, it would be cross promotion for Shenmue 3. There was no Shenmue 3 out when Dead or Alive 5 was coming out, so he's definitely a little more relevant now. But yeah, that's really all I'd say for Ryo. I think he has a decent shot because he was considered for DOA 5, and like I said, he's a bit more relevant now. But it's like, again, time will tell. I'm sure he could be given an interesting moveset. I just unfortunately don't know enough about Shenmue to really talk much about it, and I will know more about Shenmue later this summer, so don't worry there. Alright, so before I go on my number 1 pick, here's a couple honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is William from Neo. I actually really like William, and kind of like 2B and Leon Kennedy, I would really like to see him in a fighting game. The issue here is why he's an honorable mention, and again, they wouldn't really have to fight to get the rights for him because he's owned by Team Ninja. The issue with him is because I don't think in his game he really ever fights barehanded. I think if you don't equip him with a weapon, he does, but he doesn't do anything really special. It's very plain punching or kicking. So they kind of really have to take some liberties with that. Or hey, maybe he'd be the first character in Dead or Alive to always use his weapon. I don't know if that'd be very balanced. But hey, I guess they kind of, they kind of have it in Tekken. And they kind of did it with Noctis a little bit. But yeah, I think licensing would be easy, but I don't know if they'd have a good reason to put him in functionally wise. Then another honorable mention is Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. This is partially because I think I've heard people talk about him being in Tekken 7, or at least people wanting him in Tekken 7, so that made me think, if he's not going to be in Tekken 7, why not have him in this game? I think he'd be a lot more... I think it helps because, okay, yeah, obviously you can't have, like, characters' heads explode and stuff like that, but this game is a little more violent than Tekken 7, so I think he would fit a little more in there. And I think maybe even aesthetically more he'd fit. I don't know, because Dead or Alive is arguably a little more anime than Tekken, so maybe he'd fit a bit more here, but I feel like they'd probably stick to a more feminine guest character, or maybe like Sega, or just a video game guest character, but Kenshiro would still definitely be awesome. Alright, so now, for my number one pick, I have Kazuma Kiryu from the Yakuza series. Now, he's sort of, I guess, to me, I guess the reason he's a little higher than Ryo is because, well, first of all, okay, I've actually played Yakuza games recently, and I really like them. And I think Kiryu is a bit more interesting, no offense to Ryo, from what I've played. And not only that, but it's like, again, another Tekken 7-ish thing. A lot of us expected him to be the guest character in Tekken 7, but it was Noctis instead. And as happy as I was about Noctis, I think in the long run, I think I would have preferred Noctis be the guest character in Soul Calibur 6 and Kiryu be the guest character in Tekken 7. So I feel like Dead or Alive 6 could kind of at least sort of make up for this and maybe adopt Kiryu as a guest character. And I think the cool thing with Kiryu is, I guess depending which version they use, I guess even if they do use the Yakuza 6 version, he could maybe switch between his three fighting styles, which is Brawler, Rush, and I think Beast. I think all three of them would be pretty cool. Or, he doesn't even have to switch between all three of them. They could always just all be integrated into his moveset. But I think it would make him a pretty unique character. And he still just uses still be just like pure melee punching and kick moves, so it's not like be pulling out swords and stuff. Though you can use weapons in Yakuza, so that could also be some material for his throws or special moves as well. So not ruling that out totally, but the point is with him, he could have a moveset, an interesting moveset, with only just punching and kicking and throws and all that. I don't really think. I guess his fighting styles aren't anything like crazy out there, but I don't think they're... I guess you could probably find characters that fight like each three of his styles, but even still, it would be kind of neat having a character that kind of embodies all three of those kind of types of fighting styles. And Kiryu's pretty cool, so it would be nice to see him in a fighting game. I would also actually totally be fine with... I didn't even think of this till now. With Goro as well. Hell, I'd actually maybe prefer Goro, to be honest, but I feel like Kiryu would have much more of a shot, though. So yeah, I'm going to say number one is Kiryu, / Goro Majima. So, yeah, I think that's it for this list. Like I said, I didn't really want to go crazy and pick like 10 guest characters, because you don't even know if Dead or Alive 6 is going to have one, and they might only have like one, maybe two. I guess Dead or Alive 5 did wind up having a lot in the long run, but that was the long run. We don't really know what to expect, and I can't really Dead or Alive you can't really do quite as much with as you can like Mortal Kombat, so that's why I didn't really go too crazy with this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What guest characters do you want? Do you want guest characters? Do you agree with any of the choices on my list? Let me know what you guys think. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and I'm also going to put in the description my social media accounts like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow me on there and check out my videos when I post them there. And as I always say, another time, another place, keep being awesome.